Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining in, and welcome to the second session of this year's masterclass. And in the first session, we saw about incident management, and naturally, in this session, we'll take a look at service request management. I'm Zafan, and I'll be taking you through this masterclass on how to deliver an exceptional IT service experience in a hybrid work environment. All right, now that's out of the way. The agenda for today would be this. We'll see how we could unify IT and non-IT in departments under a single roof to create a department-specific portals. Then we'll see how we can create a detailed self-service portal unique to each department so that they can provide comprehensive service delivery experience for end users. Then we'll see how you can build a personalized service catalog and all the features and that comes with it that makes it so powerful. Then we'll see how you could standardize the service delivery process across the enterprise. Each department would have their own process, but a standard process across the enterprise would streamline so many roadblocks. Finally, we'll see how you can break the silos between departments and collaborate efficiently for any service delivery process. All right. So we have Zilker. Zilker is the use case we'll be learning from. All right, today. So Zilker is a rapidly growing electric car manufacturer. So since they're growing very fast, they're on a large recruitment drive for all their departments. So they are looking to hire many people in, and they want to give a smooth onboarding process because their hires right now include remote employees, resident employees, and hybrid employees. So in since most of our organizations right now are working in a hybrid structure, there are three types of employee onboarding that they have. And for every onboarding request, they have multiple departments working in tandem, simultaneously on various tasks. So this could lead to a lot of confusion if it's not streamlined, if they do not have a proper process in place. This could lead to a lot of stepping on toes, misaligned expectations, miscommunications, and so on. So naturally, they faced a lot of roadblocks since Zilka did not have a proper process in place. These roadblocks were first off, they were handling three types of different employees, and that means thrice the different tasks for just one onboarding process, and they were not prepared to handle that. And since they did not have a tool in place, they were just using emails shooting back and forth between departments. And things can get very confusing very fast, and it can things can get missed in email threads easily. And that's what had happened. And they did not have a proper communication channel. With just emails, they could not have a transparency between each department, so they did not know the status of the employee onboarding process for each employee when it's with other departments. And with such bad communication, sometimes technicians were working on the same tasks, and this led to service delays. With technicians working on the same tasks, other important tasks fell through the cracks, and they also lacked the automation. This led to process stagnation. There was stagnation in approvals. There were delays in approvals, and people had to go behind them. And this was mainly due to the lack of automation. Overall, if we see all the roadblocks together, they lack the visibility and the central control to drive this employee onboarding process. So, how could Zilker overcome these eight roadblocks? So, we have five ingredients that Zilker could use to overcome these roadblocks. First up, let's see how department specific portals, the first element, how it helps up over here. So, with ServiceDesk Plus, let's unite IT and non IT departments together. So, right now, let me take you to the ESM portal of ServiceDesk Plus. So this is the ESM portal. And over here, you can see that users have access to all the IT and non-IT service desk instance from a central platform. And this is a completely customizable portal. And as you can see, Zilka has customized it to their organization branding and messaging and according to their requirements. Further below, they even have added frequently used services and other widgets like tracking their employees' health and so on. And within the ESM portal, users also have the option for an Omni search toolbar. So, for instance, without even stepping in a service desk instance, they could type in keywords and fetch results across the service desk, or no, across all the service desk instance. For example, if we have an issue with the printer, you can see that it fetches information like announcements, solution or now knowledge articles, requests from all the help desks and displays it over here. So sometimes for any quick knowledge article or any quick information needed, a user need not even step inside a service desk instance and get information right from the ESM. All right, so now we saw the ESM portal. How do we configure this? So first, to configure this, we need to head to the ESM directory. So if you are in an IT technician portal, you can find the ESM directory in the navigation menu. Click on the instances icon, and you will have the ESM directory listed at the bottom. All right. So right now in the ESM directory, we have service desk instances on the left-hand menu. Click on service desk instances and we can create new instances within moments over here. Let's click on new instance. We can give it a name, a description, the type of instance it would be. We can choose one of the users to be the owner who would have complete admin privileges over that instance, and then we could associate a license. And once we create it, within moments, you would have a data, people, and process autonomous service desk instance created. It's that simple to bring in IT and non-IT together. All right. Now, we also saw how customized the ESM portal looked. You could customize the ESM portal easily under ESM portal customization and clicking on customize. And you would be redirected to a HTML editor. So, with the HTML editor or with HTML code, you can completely redesign the look and feel that you have for your ESM portal, and you could have what you need on displayed over there. All right. So now we saw department specific portals. Essentially, we saw ESM. Now let's see the next element over here, which is tailoring a self service portal. So let's see how we could build the self service portal, the next layer. From the ESM, let's go to the next step, which is self service portal. So right now I'm heading to the requester login and end user login and going to a self-service portal for the IT department. So right now I'm at the end user login for and we are at the ESM portal. I'm heading into the IT help desk service desk instance. So over here, this is the self-service portal for IT. Again, you can see that it's a completely customizable self-service portal. So Zilker has customized it to have all the frequently used services or incidents listed at the front, with also an option to schedule a meeting with an integration with MS Teams. And further below, you can also have widgets for end users to track their assets, keep track of the announcements, and even have a widget for popular solutions to quickly access knowledge articles. End users can also track their requests with the request module, and if they are part of any changes or projects, they can keep track of that in the self-service portal as well. So it acts as a one-stop shop for all things IT related for the end user. And further, they have access to the incident catalog and the service catalog and easily raise a ticket or raise a service request. So by just clicking on the service catalog, they'll be redirected to the service catalog. And overall, the service self-service portal serves as a one-stop point for any department to comprehensively provide services for the end user. All right. So how do you customize the self-service portal? So right now we are going to the technician portal for IT. So I'll be sliding to the technician portal. So right now I'm in the IT help desk and I'm in a technician login. And let's head over to the admin settings. Over here, under general settings, we have advanced portal settings and we have a separate tab for customization. And we can customize the self-service portal over here. So the self-service portal is mainly widget driven. So you can add default widgets that are already available, or you can add any of the URL widgets that you would like. And all of these are completely, all the layout is completely drag and drop enabled. So you can just drag and move around these widgets as you see fit. Further, you can change the theme according to the ones that's already listed, or you can change it to the exact look and feel that you want, again, by using the HTML editor that is listed over here. All right. So now we saw how you could customize the self-service portal for each specific business functions. Let's go one more step further. Let's see how you could build a service catalog and see all the powerful features that comes with it. Okay. So we had a very quick glimpse of the service catalog in the self-service portal. So let's see how you could build that service catalog right now. So we are back to the technician portal and let me go back to the admin settings. In the technician login under admin settings, under templates and forms, we have a separate menu for service catalog. Over here, we have service categories listed. So once you create a service category, you can add services under those categories. So when you create a service category, remember that it would be added as a CI in your CMDB. So you can choose to create an IT service category or a business service category. So when you create an IT service category, just given the necessary information for this, as a CI, such as the availability target percentage, the incident restoration target, how impactful it is for the business, how critical it is for the business, and its business criticality, and then who would be managing this service. And you can also choose an icon or upload an icon over here, and this would be listed in the service catalog. So under service catalog, you can see the service categories that was listed over here with all the icons and all the information that we just saw right now. And under each service, under each service category, you can add the services that comes over here. So for instance, for email services, we have several services under it, like creating a new mailing list, adding a new member to the group, or increasing mail recipient count, and so on. Now, these services are essentially templates. A template is a pre configured and pre populated form that helps technicians and users to easily raise a ticket. So, for end users, the information would already be pre populated and they just need to fill in minimal information to raise a ticket. For technicians, they would get exactly the right information and the relevant information needed to process that service. So, under each service category, we have templates. So, let's see how we could create a template in the service catalog. So, right now we'll take a template that's relevant to user onboarding. So, let me search for a template under user management, and let me show you one template that we have created, and I'll show you how we can edit it. So once we open the template, we are thrown into a form canvas. So over here, we have several sections and several fields, and all of these sections and fields can be dragged and dropped from the panel on the left-hand side. For instance, if you need to add the priority to the request categorization section, just drag the priority and drop it into the section that you need. Once we drop it, we can add further properties into the field, such as making it mandatory, whether the requester can add input to it, or whether the requester can only view it. You can also add the selection of it over here. So there are all you can add different types of fields by clicking on the plus icon in the available fields. We have different types of sections, from single column to flexible column. You can drag and drop a section and then add different kinds of fields, from single line text to date and time, to create a completely versatile uh, templates that is appropriate to your service request. So now we are looking at the technician view. So under the technician view, we have a lot of information because a technician needs more information to fill up the fields. So further below, when we scroll up, we have a dedicated section for resource info. So a resource info is where we can collect specific information needed to fulfill that service. So for instance, this is the user onboarding form. So over here under the resource info, we have information, we have options to collect information like category of the new hire, whether it's a contractor, freelancer, or permanent, the IT assets that he or she might need, the hardware peripherals that they might need, the personal details, and so on. You can create a kind of an e-shopping cart experience with service cost and images and all that with the resource info. You can create new sections in resource info by clicking on the plus icon under resource section and adding a resource. So for resource sections, for instance, let's create a Windows device list, and we can choose from the existing questions. We can drag or we can also create a new question over here. So and we have four types of question types. So for Windows devices, we'll be choosing a drop down list, and let's choose, let's have the question as choose laptop, and let's add the options as, let's add a few laptops over here, give a cost to it. Please don't mind the cost, I'm not very sure about these costs. um, all right, and once you click on enable image, you can also add an image to this. So with that, you can essentially have the e-card kind of experience where users can just choose the IT asset they need, and this cost would be added to the service ticket overall, being added to the IT cost center. All right. So now we saw how you could create a resource section. Further below, apart from the cost in the resource section, you can also add a separate cost to the ticket creation as well. And again, this would also be, included in the ticket creation or in the service delivery, and it would be added to the IT cost center. Next up, we can also choose which support groups would have access to this template and which user groups would have access to this template. So right now, a hiring form would generally be used only by managers. So we can choose that only manager user group would have access to this hiring form. So this service would be visible in the service catalog for only managers. And that is why I mentioned we can create a personalized service catalog. So, according to the user groups, the services would be visible depending on their roles. All right. Now, once you save it, you can configure the requester view. So far, we saw the technician view. And under the requester view, we'll be seeing how the ticket would look like or how the template would look like to a requester when they're filling the ticket. So usually the requester would not need too much fields, such as the request categorization, the impact, the priority, and all that. So those fields are hidden and available for the technician, and for the requester, we can have a very simple form, and we can just add basic information over here. Once we are satisfied with the requester view, we can head over to the workflow. Under the Yes, under the workflow, first up we have a request lifecycle that's already associated with the template. We'll go through what a request lifecycle is in a minute. And next up, we have approvals. So you can automate the approvals right from the template. So when the ticket gets created, the approval would automatically be sent. So we can choose either users, or you can choose organizational roles by typing in the dollar symbol, and you can have uh, any approvers added over here. And you can also have a multi-stage approval process. You can have up to 5 stages of approvals. Now, once you have configured the approvals, we have service level agreements. So service level agreements essentially communicates to the end user that how long the service would take, so that they would be able to set their expectations on when they can expect the service. This would essentially cut down on all the calls and to the IT department or any department asking for the status of the tickets or how long it's going to take and so on. So we can associate multiple SLAs within a template. So for instance, when a user wants a service in a very emergency or in a very urgent basis, he or she can choose any of the quick SLAs rather than the usual SLA. So you have that option to add multiple SLAs over here. To add a new SLA, just click on the add new SLA, and we'll be redirected to the SLA menu. So over here, let's quickly create an SLA and see what SLA has to offer. So let's have an SLA for onboarding. And within SLA, we have two types of violations that can happen. One is a response SLA, and another is a fulfillment SLA. So we can choose when if the service request isn't responded within like maybe 2 hours, you can have a type of you can enable one level of escalation. And if the service request isn't fulfilled, for instance, let's keep it 14 days, then that you can enable a different level of escalations. So you can have up to 4 levels of escalations for fulfillment and 1 level of escalation for response. And under each escalation, you can choose either a role or a person to escalate it to. And over here, you can also choose whether you want to escalate the ticket before the violation happens or whether you want to escalate the ticket after the violation happens. So you can have a sort of a proactive or a reactive approach to your service level management. And under each escalation, you can also enable actions to that can take place when it gets escalated. These actions include like placing it in a separate group, like high priority group, setting the priority to high or critical, setting the level as tier 2, tier 3 more, or assigning it to a specific technician. And once you click save, this SLA would get associated to your template. All right, so now we saw approvals and SLAs right within the template. Next up, we have checklists and tasks. Checklists and tasks were deeply covered in the previous episode of incident management. So I'll just quickly go through it. Checklist is just an easy run through for your technicians to keep an eye out for any tickets so that they don't miss out on anything. You can add a new checklist over here or associate a previously created checklist. And tasks are the activities that has to be done for the service delivery. And these activities can be completely assigned to a specific technician. There could be specific owners for each task. Each task has its own status, the cost, estimated hours, priority, and so on. You can even have dependencies among these tasks. All right. So now we saw all of these is are available right within the template. So we still have a final element in creating a template, which is field and form rules. So we saw that there were lots of fields in these templates, especially in the resource info, and this could lead to human errors when requesters are filling in. They could fill up wrong information in the wrong field, or they could miss out certain fields. And to ensure and that's those errors don't happen, or sometimes requesters don't feel exhausted to looking at all the fields, you can have field and form rules. So field and form rules are essentially conditional rules that govern the action of the fields in the template. So these rules can be these actions can be activated at three different stages: either when the form is loaded, or when the field is changed, whether there is a change in the input of the field, or whether when the form is submitted. So let's take a look at one of these field and form rules. So under on-field change, let's take a look at one rule that we have configured over here called regional sales manager. So the condition over here is that when the role is chosen to be regional sales manager, then the resource would be shown, would be displayed, and these fields would be set to Apple and the MacBook Pro 15-inch automatically, and these options would be removed. So you have multiple actions that you can choose rather than just showing and setting and removing fields. So you have option to enable field, disable field, hide field, mandate. You can even set task, unset task, and you can even execute a script. All right. Now we saw field and form rules. It's always easier to see how it works rather than listen and understand, right? So let me take you through one of the tickets and see how this field and form rules work. Now let me go back to the requester login and go to the service catalog. All right. So I'm at the end user login in the service catalog. Let me create a ticket for the template. All right, this is the template that we were looking at, and we can choose one of the SLAs from the top panel. And we can see that the basic information are filled in, and we have the resource sections over at the bottom. And we can see that there's only one section available right now. So let's choose the category of new hire. Once I chose permanent, then the personal details, the section 1A gets, is visible. So this action was made possible because of field and form rules. I can give a quick name over here, and the phone number, office location. Once I specify all this and choose a role, then I have the next set of options being shown to me, and certain options are already checked because for a sales manager or a sales executive, this would be the options that are already configured. And we can also choose any other software that they might need. And we can see the cost estimation for the service request at the end, right within the ticket, and we can add the request. And that is how you can essentially build a personalized service catalog. And we saw all the various powerful features that comes in, from approvals, tasks, automated approvals, tasks, built-in service costs, SLAs, and so on. All right. Now we saw the first three elements. Let's see the fourth element for exceptional service experiences, which is to standardize the user experience. So right now, let's create a visual map of the service delivery process so that a technician or end user can only have one user experience, or it standardize the service delivery process across all the departments. So first up, let's see how that standardization works. Now I'm heading back to the IT technician portal. So this is the template that we are working on. Let me move to the request list view, and we would have the ticket that we just created over here. All right. So this is the ticket workspace. So over here under details, we can see that we have all the information that's collected from the resource and so on. And apart from resources, a technician can take a lot of actions over here. He could set tasks, could assign it to a different technician, he could change the status as the technician sees fit, and so on. But over here, a technician cannot do any of those and can only do two actions, which is either to assign or hold. If you follow my cursor on the top right panel, you can see that there is a word or a term called transition. So transitions are conditional actions that can be triggered and which should activate a certain set of automations when we click on it. And a technician can only do those two actions that are available. The only transitions that are available to him, a technician can only take those actions. So this essentially governs the technician's activity in this ticket management, and and does not and make sure that the technician does not waver from the organization process. So let's right now assign the ticket as a service desk manager. So right now the option is to assign the ticket to another technician. So once we click assign, it's showing us a message. Please fill the mandatory fields, which is technician. So let's assign this to a technician. Let's assign it to Paul and update it. All right. So once we have updated it, then the status has moved to assigned, and we have another transition available which shows initiate process. So right now, the technician can only initiate the process and cannot do any other activity on the ticket. So how does this work? So how do you configure such a standardized process? So let me show you that. We'll head into the admin section, and under the admin section, under automation, we have request lifecycle. So we the request lifecycle that is governing the ticket right now is the user onboarding request lifecycle that we have here. And we can see it's a visual map of the ticket journey from its opening status to the closing status. All the path that all every path that it can take has been mapped over here. The white boxes that you see over here are the statuses that the ticket would move through, and the green boxes are the transitions that we just interacted with. So under each transition, you can have automations or actions take place at three different stages: before, during, and after. Under the before stage, this essentially is to is to make sure who can access the transition or who can view the transition, the scope of the transition. So you can choose any roles, either ticket owner or group members can only see the transition, or you can have any criteria listed over here. So we have a criteria over here, that is, if the resource info is filled up, only if the resource info is filled up, the initiate process transition would be visible. You can configure this rule. It's very simple. You can just edit the rule, choose one of the columns, one of the fields as the argument, and choose the criteria. And you can have and or listing to have a complete set of criteria check. All right. So once that criteria is satisfied, then this transition would be visible. Next up, we have during stage. During ensures that your ticket has the exact right information before it moves on to the next status. So you can mandate certain fields over here, and you can also have other optional fields that suggest to technicians, maybe they might need this field info for the next status also. Again, you can configure rules over here, and you can execute custom actions too. You can if the criteria follows, for instance, if the category is communications, you can execute a custom function or a field update. So we just saw that you can mandate a field, or you can update a field directly over here, or you can execute a script also. Further, if a criteria seems if according to a criteria, you can also abort the process execution. So for instance, if the ticket has any um, you know uh, for instance, in the user onboarding process, if the new onboarding employee has already attended an interview in the previous 6 months, and if that information is deemed necessary, you can abort the entire ticket process as well. So in this way, you can configure these actions under the during stage. Next up, you have the after stage. Under after stage is when, after clicking the transition and once it moves on to the next status, certain actions would take place. So over here, when the technician clicks on initiate process, we have configured an action over here, which is to notify all the stakeholders that the employee onboarding process has begun. So you can again configure multiple different actions over here. These includes custom functions. You can trigger a webhook to any external tools and fetch in information and fill it over here, or also you can trigger or you can execute a script over here. All right. Now, this is how a how a RLC works and how it standardizes your entire process. But it is a no-code logic workflow that is very easy to build as well. So, how do you build one? Let's head back to our RLC menu and click on New. And let's give a new name to it: Onboarding Hybrid Workflow. And let's associate it with one of the service templates. So let's associate it to this template. And when this template is raised, these tickets would be following this specific workflow. Now, once we create a new RLC, we'll be redirected to a default RLC where we could build upon it, or we could delete all these elements and build from scratch as well. By just removing these statuses, we can delete all the elements. And we can start with by just dragging the status from the right hand panel. So once a ticket comes in, it would first be in the open status. Then it would move on to the in progress status or on hold status. And you can map the journey or the direction it takes by dragging the arrow that comes from the status to the next status over here. And you can have multiple paths over here to two different statuses. And by clicking on the plus green box, you can create a new transition. For instance, you can hold this ticket and put the status on hold and stop the timer. And once you create the transition, you would have access to all the actions that you can configure under before, during, and after that we just saw. And it's that simple to create an RLC. Once you create an RLC, you can publish it. All right, so now we saw the fourth element, which is to visually map the service delivery process and standardize the user experience. All right, now let's see the final element that breaks the silos between multiple departments and enables seamless collaboration and transparency across for this employee onboarding process. All right. Now, for this, we'll be using custom functions. And I'll be showing, first let's raise a ticket as a hiring manager from the HR Service Desk instance. So I'll be heading over to the requester login to the HR Service Desk instance. Okay, so I'm at the IT help desk. I'll move on to the HR help desk from the navigation menu. So without switching windows, I can move between multiple instances. So I'll be switching over to the HR help desk. And over here, let me open the service catalog and let me create a ticket for employee onboarding. All right. So over here, let's fill in the resource fields. Let me choose a permanent employee and let me choose the work model as hybrid. And we can see that more questions are popping up as we fill it in. These are all mandated by field and form rules that we just saw. Let's give a name for the hire. Let's call him mm, Jackie Green, and date of joining is 25th April. Let's choose the hardware peripherals that Jackie might need, um, and the tools that he might need, the access, the facility access that Jackie would need. And since it's a hybrid work model, Jackie would be coming in only few days, so we'll choose Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and add request. All right. Now, once we created a request from the HR Service Desk instance, automatically new tickets will be created in the IT and facilities as well with the exact information. So first, let's head over to our HR Service Desk instance in the technician portal and see this ticket in action. So this is the HR help desk, and as a HR manager or a HR technician, let's take a look at the ticket that was created right now. So we have a ticket for Jackie Green. We can see in the subject, which was, and all the information from the resource was has been collated and added, in a neat manner into the description box, so we can quickly take a look at it. This was enabled using scripts in the field and form rules. I told you that one of the action that you can do is to execute scripts, and this was done you by executing a script. And under details, if we scroll down below, um, I'm so sorry, it's the next ticket. Yeah. So under details, if we scroll down below, we can see that there are child tickets that are created. So these are the HR, and we can easily see the IT ticket and the facility tickets with their ID and their URL. So the HR technician can easily access the tickets from the HR ticket workspace and track them. Now, apart from moving on to the IT ticket or the facility desk ticket, these tickets can be tracked within the associated tickets as well. So when the hiring manager created a new request from the service catalog, and a new tab called associated tickets um, was created automatically, and it would fetch the information from the new tickets that are created in the IT help desk and the facility help desk, and the status and the technician can be tracked from within this tab as well. Now, let's take a look at the ticket that was created in facility desk. So right now I'm at the facilities help desk in the technician portal, and under the request list view, I can see a new ticket for Jackie Green has automatically been created, and we can see the same information has been fetched from the HR ticket as well. Now, let me change the status of this ticket from open to in progress. And we can see that this would get reflected in the HR ticket. I'm back to the HR ticket right now. And under the associated tickets tab, we can see that I'm highlighting it. If you could follow my cursor, under the facilities desk, we can see the status has changed from open to in progress. So this essentially, enables a transparent process for all the departments that are involved. So every department would know that the status of each department's ticket, and accordingly they can calibrate themselves to deliver the services on time without any hiccups or any miscommunication or misaligned expectations. So, how did we enable such a workflow that spans across multiple departments, breaking the silos? First up, we leveraged paid scripts to create these associated tickets tabs specifically. So, paid scripts can be found in your admin settings. Yeah, so let me open the admin settings. And under the admin settings, under developer space, we have page scripts. Page scripts essentially uh, enables you to create new spaces or pages within the Service Desk Plus UI where you can fill in information that you need that would be helpful for your organization process. So over here, we have created a new page script for filling in the associated ticket information, and a usual page script would pretty much look like this with division classes and so on. All right. Now, apart from page script, we leverage custom functions. Custom functions are low-code automations that extend the capabilities of Service Desk Plus, so that you can match exactly your organization process to make that last mile customization that you need to match the organization process. So custom functions can be built under the developer space. Also, there is a separate menu for custom functions, and we can see that we have created a custom function for creating associated tickets. So a typical custom function would look like this, and this is the function that has created new tickets in other instances, IT and facilities, and fetched the information and filled it in the IT and facilities service desk instance. This is also the custom function that tracks the status and updates it in the HR ticket as well. And of course, if you need any help with building your own custom function, or building your own page script, please drop an email to hello@servicedeskplus.com or to my email ID. We'll be happy to help you develop your custom script for your organization process. All right. So now we saw custom function. Custom functions can be triggered at two places. Either it can be triggered using the RLC. We saw that in RLC, in a transition under after stage, you can trigger a notification or a custom function, or other things like webhook and executing a script. Or you can trigger a custom function in custom triggers. So custom triggers are conditional actions that based on a condition, it would take an action on incoming requests, change, project, or task. So you can find custom triggers under automation, and you can easily configure a custom trigger. So you can choose when to execute and what the criteria to be executed on. So right now, if the template is employee onboarding for selective work model, the action would take place. That is, this custom function, specific custom function, would take place. There are other actions that can take place, like notification or triggering a webhook, and you can update it. So that is why when the HR from the HR service catalog, when the hiring manager created a request with this specific template, this custom function was triggered, and automatically new tickets were created in subsequent instances. And this is how you can essentially collaborate with multiple departments effortlessly by extending the service desk capabilities. All right, so that comes to that is the end of the masterclass. Over here, we saw the 5 elements that could help streamline the service delivery process and provide exceptional user experience. A quick recap of what we saw. First, we saw ESM portal, how we could create new service desk instances, and we can how you can unite IT and non-IT on a central platform. And this enabled easily to share data and share workflows. Then we saw how you could create a customized self-service portal. We saw how you could easily customize it, how you could add new widgets to it, and how users can track their tickets, changes, and projects within the self-service portal. Then we saw how you could build a service catalog, and we learned that service catalog is not just showcasing your the services. It has more powerful features such as templates, which has built-in approvals, SLAs, tasks, service cost, resource info, and so on. Then we saw how we can standardize a process and govern the technician activity and essentially guide the technician across the organization process with request lifecycle. Finally, with custom functions, we saw how we can extend the service desk capabilities and collaborate with multiple departments and provide a transparent employee onboarding process. All right, folks. I hope that has been a very informative and a helpful session for you all. So if you like to learn more, there's always the admin guide, and Ashok has shared many links from there in the chat as well. Be sure to check out our product videos. We have previous recording of our masterclass and many of the product explanation or module explanation videos in our YouTube channel, and it's ever growing. We keep adding videos, on a monthly basis. Or so be sure to check out our product videos, and of course. Be an active member in Pitstop, our community where it's always buzzing with activity. All right. Any other issues, please write to us at hello@servicedeskplus.com, and we'll see you soon in the next masterclass. Thank you. Bye bye.